Hi, everybody. This is Chuck Bear, and welcome back to the business of blockchains and cryptocurrency. This is part 2 of the series that's going to cover what's going on in the cryptocurrency space. And as I mentioned in the first part, I'm really trying to zoom in on what's actually happening, where are people actually making money and doing business in this space. And cryptocurrency, especially over the last year or so, has had a lot of bad stories, but there are businesses out there functioning and doing not as well as they could have if the market had been more stable, but they're doing quite well. So let's just have a look at this. And I think the main place you've seen companies really establish themselves and start being successful is just in the business of exchanging these digital assets and cryptocurrencies and also storing them, right? And these products and services tend to focus on either the buying and selling of cryptocurrencies and digital assets, or holding and managing them securely, which is no small task. And the products and services tend to stratify by the audience. You know, some are really meant for consumers, and some are focused on the professional level. And really, the analogies here is, you know, the consumer buying and selling is kind of like your airport currency exchange, right? We're trying to make this simple. I think everybody knows you're not getting the rock bottom deal, but it's convenient and presented in a way that's easy for a consumer to do. And then in the professional space, it's really more about sophisticated trading capabilities. In holding and managing cryptocurrency, one of the big promises is, hey, you can be your own bank. But it turns out it's not entirely easy to be your own bank. There's a lot that can go wrong, especially when it comes to private keys. You know, everybody can get it conceptually, but the thing is, you need to keep the private keys private, but you also must never lose them, right? And that combination is quite difficult, because the things you would typically do to keep from ever losing something, like making a bunch of copies of it and keeping it around, that doesn't work because you might compromise it. And of course, things that you would do to kind of keep it super secret might risk you actually just losing it. So there are products and services that help you do that. And really at the professional level, the whole be your own bank thing, it doesn't really work for companies, right? Because if a company is holding a cryptocurrency and digital assets that are owned by the company, especially if they're holding those on behalf of your customers, so they don't even really belong to the company, you can't really have just one person holding the keys, right? There needs to be a solution there. In financial services, this is called custody. It's something that exists for current financial assets, and it's going to be a thing in the cryptocurrency space as well. So what's going on here? I mean, probably the biggest name in this consumer space for buying and selling has been Coinbase, at least in the US. There are many, but you know, Coinbase has a product that really lets you use an app or a simple website to buy and sell cryptocurrency. You can move US money in and out from your checking account. You can even buy it with credit cards. Questionable whether that's the best idea, but you know, it gives you these easy options to buy and sell cryptocurrency and get into the space that way as a consumer. Over on the professional side, you've got companies like Gemini. So this is one of the early, you know, really professional and focused on, you know, the Wall Street professional market cryptocurrency exchanges. These, you know, the wants and needs of these clients are much different than the consumer. You know, a lot of it's about automated trading and connecting bots, or, you know, doing very sophisticated kind of trading and liquidity management. On the holding and managing, I think in a consumer space, one of the very interesting things is these hardware wallet products. And in brief, what these let you do is get a very high level of security. Maybe not the very highest possible, but very high level of security in a way that's relatively easy and simple. I wouldn't quite call it completely ready for mainstream consumers, but they make it a lot easier to manage private keys and use cryptocurrency. And in the professional space, I think one of the big stories of 2018 that really wasn't publicized was Fidelity announcing that they're standing up a custody capability for cryptocurrency. And this is now a new entity called Fidelity Digital Assets. As of right now, they have launched it and they're using it with a few select clients. So it's not open to everybody, but it's real and it's there. So they are now holding digital assets on behalf of their clients. And in this space, cryptocurrency, I think, sort of zooming back from that, the buying and selling, the holding, those have been the big businesses. But it's pretty impressive that what's come of this is really like a new investment industry. So I mentioned all these exchanges, and most of these are companies that, they didn't exist before this, and they were built to do exchange services for this new kind of asset. You also have asset managers and investment banks, right? So you have people managing pools of investment and helping to fund new companies. It's basically a miniature copy of the investment banking industry. You have derivative products, which I've put on here the classic or the mainstream, I guess, Chicago exchanges, CBOE and CME Group that have entered with Bitcoin futures, and this was a big story. But I think what's interesting is you have companies like BitMEX, which has been around for quite a while, selling futures contracts on crypto assets. They can't operate in the US, but they had built the capability and they're able to do it. And then you even have things like media, data services, analysis focused on this industry. And I've put a few examples. CoinDesk is a media outlet focused on the cryptocurrency space. Brave New Coin provides basically data and analysis services focused on the price and markets for crypto assets. And TradingView is really a general trader's tool, but I think it's an example of a company that's benefited from the cryptocurrency space. It's become a very popular tool for understanding cryptocurrency price action. Also in this, you have new asset types coming out of this. So blockchain, again, it has this kind of basic capability, but you can define different kinds of assets beyond cryptocurrency. And the big one, of course, late 2017, early 2018 is what I would like to call tokenized pre-sales. This is really the ICO, the initial coin offering. And I would say if your idea is to use an ICO as a way to raise money in a way that's outside of SEC regulation, that's maybe not such a good idea. And frankly, that's a lot of what was going on. But there is, I think, a real idea in here that's important. Because if you think about how you fund a new company, the oldest way to do it is debt. You borrow money and to do whatever it is you're going to try to do as a sole proprietor. Over time came this idea of equity, where you can sell shares in a company, so you're selling ownership of this company and really its future profits. And then these guys came along, and this is interesting. Kickstarter, right? And your classic idea with Kickstarter, I've got a clever product idea that people would want, maybe would like to buy it now so we can make it happen, right? So you're going to invent a solar water bottle that can chill itself in the sun. It's going to sell for $15, but you can buy it now for 10 if you want to help kickstart our company. And it's a great idea. The thing is, you might buy one, you might buy some as gifts to have it ready, next Christmas, whatever. But you're not going to put $500,000 into water bottles. It's just impractical. And I think that's the potential magic of these tokens, right? So instead of physically giving you the water bottle when it's ready, let's give you a token now that represents future production of a water bottle that is digital. You can sell it, trade it, hold it over time. So it takes that Kickstarter kind of personal pre-sale idea and makes it into something that actually could be an asset where maybe you would buy $500,000 worth of these. Now, in the example I'm using, I just said that we would sell this for $10 with the expectation that when it's launched, it's $15, and that pretty much makes it a security, right? So this does not get you around securities law, but it does create a new kind of security that's potentially interesting. We also have these stable coins, and I touched on this a bit. And as I give this presentation, Tether is in the news again because there's some questions about its backing. But all these examples are representing the U.S. dollar on different kinds of blockchains, which is kind of useful. Again, it gets into that complex transactions. Now, if you can represent a dollar on a blockchain, you can now have interactions with the dollar and the native cryptocurrency or other digital assets. So this is an interesting thing, and I think these companies are basically issuing these and making money by making a market in their own coin, right? So these tend to trade at a slight discount or premium to the US dollar, and as being a market maker, they can make money on that. I think the biggest story from this space is just simply that there's almost certainly more coming. If you look at the long history of assets in general, and especially what happened in the early 70s as computer technology came along, and there were some innovations in how you price things like American options, and the ability to do the complex calculations in there reasonably cheaply, caused this explosion in products. So basically, as that technology and ability came, Wall Street just figures out every which way to split it and create different products and derivatives out of it. And I think in this space, we are seeing just the beginning of them making use of this new tool set that they have to create products. So that's it for the cryptocurrency section. In the next clip, we'll get into what's happening with blockchain solutions. Thanks for tuning in.